Upstate golf guys, here we go. Anthony Rogers steal the show. RGB Florida Mike on the scene. Hollywood Mikey living the dream. Eagle birdie par bogey fly. Swing that club, watch it sky. Lombardi putter shine so clean. Golfing addicts chasing the green. Up balls from trouble spots, off the tee or random plots. Long drive legend with a grin. Grip it, rip it, let's begin. We're the crew you can't outdrive. Golf obsession keeps us alive. Buzzing by in a golf cart spree. Talking swing, sipping iced tea. Eagle, birdie, par, bogey, fly. Swing that club, watch it sky. Lombardi putter shine so clean. Golfing addicts chasing the green.
And we are back for another episode of the Upstate Golf Guys podcast. Florida Mike, we have a really awesome one tonight. But before we get the ball rolling, I know you played golf today in those 88 Lynx golf shoes. Tell me how those are feeling, brother.
Oh, they feel great. I did not slip at all. That's what I love most about them. They're very comfy. Got the shirt on today still.
Nice.
Also,
nice.
Oh yeah.
Nice. Is that the collar? That's the collarless shirt. I can't really see very well.
This is the collarless.
Nice, man.
Yeah,
nice,
they fit great.
Nice.
No sweating.
Make sure you go check out our guy Shoe Dog over at 88links.com. But Florida Mike, we have an awesome one for our listeners tonight, brother. We have a scoring and spotting associate producer for CBS. He's been everywhere on the PGA Tour, from Augusta to Pebble Beach to Phoenix at the Waste Management. And of course, he's been across the pond over at the Old Course at the Open Championship. Drew, welcome to the show, brother.
Thank you so much for having me on. I love it. The podcast, everything that you guys are doing for Upstate Golf, all that stuff. It's great. It's great to be a part of it.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. Let's get to the basics, bro. What exactly does a scoring and spotting associate producer do during a golf broadcast?
Well, we've got a couple things that happen during the broadcast. You have a graphic side of things where you guys have watched golf before, so graphics come up, player, shot, clubs, yardage, all that kind of stuff. So that's one side of the job, where you're working in the graphics department. And then the other side of the job is where you're working in the main production truck, where there's an associate producer, there's a replay producer, along with your producer and director. And you're trying to sell all of the live golf to the producer for him to make that decision. So you kind of have the two different sides of the coin that I pretty much do on a weekly basis.
So Florida Mike, funny story. I was trolling a little bit. That's what I do. I troll. And I was talking about the broadcasting at the Masters, and it was fine, man. It was fine. And that's how I actually, when I met Drew, and he was like, I work for CBS, right? I'm like, no shit, man. No shit. Tell me more. Here I am trying to think I know it all with like some crappy podcast equipment. This guy's knows it all. He's been there, done that. It's so awesome, man. Tell me a little. So you were at Augusta. You were at Augusta just last month. Tell me a little bit about that experience first off.
Augusta, to even think about the opportunity to go to Augusta, as a fan, you're like, oh, this would be amazing to get this opportunity to go to Augusta. And then now we're looking at, this was my 20th Masters. So
awesome
to go from thinking, oh, this is something, that I probably never even go see the property as a fan, to turn around and then be a part of a broadcast for the last 20 years. It's simply amazing, where, when I look at things where I came from. You and I have talked a little bit, I'm a Troy boy, So,
Yep.
to go from there to 20 Masters and just being a part of that broadcast, and not only just being a part of the broadcast, but becoming a part of the Emmy award-winning broadcast that we had in 2019. There's some guy named Tiger Woods won the tournament, so that was pretty amazing. And don't be surprised if another one comes this way with the what Rory did.
Yeah. Congrats, Rory, for that green jacket. I don't want to tell you what we were all doing during that live broadcast. We were giving him the bad jujus, and we were all rooting for Justin Rose, weren't we, Florida Mike?
Yeah, we were. And it's funny that you say Justin Rose because as long as you've been to the Masters, so is Justin Rose. Like you watched him from start to now.
Well, what's crazy is I say this every year. I'm like, it's 36 holes into the Masters, and who's in the lead? Justin Rose. Yeah, I feel like
Yeah,
every year for the last 20 years, he's had the lead for 36 holes. And I actually thought that this was the one time I was like, he's going to finally do it. And then
yeah,
he had then he had the Rory story, and then he had the
It was
Rosie story. It was
that's
great.
that's what I said. I said everybody has a story. So I own a business in Albany, and everybody's coming in. They're like, "Oh, were you happy for Rory? Were you happy for Rory?" I'm like, you know what? I'm like, Rose had a story too. Like he truthfully did, and that's the thing. Like, listen, at the end of the day, I'm happy for Rory. He got the Grand Slam, got that burden off his back. But I like Rose, man. Is he like how many times is he gonna be there and like not get it? And then when Rory missed the putt, I saw people like I saw it at your broadcasting when like it was Rose. He was giving like the nod to a couple people, like they must have been saying, "You got this, man."
Mhm.
At the putting green, and he was heading. And like I thought for sure it was Rose's tournament to win. I don't know. That was my thoughts.
Yeah, when you looked at and like I said, the 36 holes, and then he kind of fell back that day too, and he was kind of out of it, and then he played his way back into it, and then Rory, all the different stuff that happened that day when you look back on it was pretty remarkable as to how it finally finished, and that Rory won because he didn't start off well, and then Rosie made that comeback. I was on Amen Corner, and I thought to myself that, I don't think Florida Mike going to the Masters had 10 shots of what Rory had at 13, and you would have hit the green 9 out of 10 times.
well, I'm a lefty, so I'm definitely not hitting that draw. But
But that
I
flag
think
went.
Bryson helped him with that too. I think by Bryson going in the water, I think that like helped Rory a little bit. And I think then he switched a club there.
I didn't ever see him switch clubs. I just kept thinking to myself, I was watching it all day long. You
Yeah,
have so much room left. All you have
yeah,
to do is hit it left, and it filters down to the flag. Like what he was thinking, and unfortunately, I never heard him say, or hey, this is what happened at 13. But maybe that I just missed it. But to me,
Mhm.
I watched it all day, and I just thought to myself, I'm going to hit this 25 feet left. It's a
yeah.
100-yard club.
What was
Easy,
he doing? I know
easy
we even
sand wedge.
it was funny because we were all watching the broadcast. It was kind of like all different times because you know how streaming is, and I think Florida Mike was the first one to say, "Oh, Bryson is done. That's it." And I was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
"Wait, what?" I was like, "Wait, what happened?" And like I saw it a second later, it cut over to me, and I saw it go in. And what was he? I know what was he doing there, man? I don't know. Who am I to judge? I'm just a sea flight hacker, but
Yeah.
no
Let me
doubt.
ask you this. Whose shot was prettier there, Tigers or Rory's? Because they
Where?
compare those as similar. What it was in Amon's corner, the one where he hit the draw and it just cleared it and he put it to like 3 feet, and
I
then
mean,
Tiger did the same thing.
just I came and started working with CBS 2005. So it was actually the day after the Masters in 2005. And you all remember the shot
Hmm.
16. So I unfortunately wasn't there for that. Uh,
Okay.
but then I got the opportunity to be a part and watch Tiger make, so many unbelievable shots, throughout my career. Because when I started with CBS, I just walked the golf course. So I was walking with the players in the beginning. So, just to go out there and walk around with him and experience the shots, and the shots that you would never think that anybody else could make, and that he would do it. And he
Mhm.
made it look so easy. That was the
Yeah.
crazy part.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I went and saw my first live event, 2021. It was, I always forget the name of it, but it was at Liberty National, and it was during COVID.
Sure. The Northern
Um,
Trust.
Northern, that's what it was.
Used
The
to be the
Northern
Northern
Trust,
Trust. Yep.
100%. That's what it was called, the Northern
Yep.
Trust. Thank you.
Yep.
Seeing those guys live and in person, all of them, Florida Mike, they make it look so easy, and it's disgusting. It makes me want to throw my golf clubs like right in the pond, dude. It's like I don't understand how it comes so easy to these guys, and why. Again, we can see it
Blood,
on
sweat, and
TV.
tears.
No, we can see it on right. No, you're right. We see it on TV on the CBS broadcasting all the time, but there's nothing like seeing it in person. I don't know if you guys
I
can agree.
Oh yeah, I've been to many tournaments. I love it. I think it's awesome. My best part about the tournaments is when they get mad when they miss it like 10 feet left or right. You know, and they're like tapping their club on the ground. And they're like, "How could I forget that wind or this or that?" And I'm thinking to myself, man, I'm licking my chops for a birdie opportunity from 10 feet away. Dude. Like it's crazy the mindset. I love it. And in
Oh,
person,
I'm thinking about two putting. You know, I could two putt for par from 10 feet.
Yeah,
Another thing I liked, I caught was the conversation between the caddies and the players that you don't hear and you don't catch. We were standing on what is the par 3 along the water with the Statue of Liberty. So I think it's maybe 14. So that might be 14.
Yeah.
I think we were standing on the 15th tee box. So we were able to watch the players come up on the par 3, and then we were just standing on that tee box. But you heard so many different players, personalities, and their caddies. It was so funny to hear everybody's Harold Varner. It was before Live.
Okay.
Harold Varner was a comedian, man. He went up and gave his caddy a ball tap with the backside of his club. Okay, like just while they were waiting. It was absolutely funny. But then you had Kevin Na, that was like dead serious. That was like, I mean, I'm gonna say he was like an asshole, but it's when golfers are in their groove and when they're focused and they're in their game, like it's like ever since this was before I was in competitive golf. I understand now, man. And it's like you just see all the personalities out there, Florida Mike, and it's wild. Tiger was kind of like that. Tiger was like, I used to before again, I was in competitive golf and I used to just watch him like, why is this guy ignoring all his fans? And like these fans are the guys that pay why they don't really pay his salary. PGA pays his salary, but whatever. I was like, why are they
Nike salary?
Yeah, they were diehard. Right. These guys are fans. Why isn't he giving them? But man, he was in that tunnel vision, focused, and that's what they do. And I understand that now. And I'm sure you see it with all golfers. Drew, let me ask you, what golfers that you seen out there that are just like fun and don't care versus it's business?
That's easy. Boo Weekly.
Okay. All right.
So tonight I gotta give a shout out to my guy Shades. It's his 50th birthday. We're gonna head over to the woodshed and the shed.
Birthday.
In the shed, Boo Weekly has a little plaque there. They would order like extra cases of Natty Ice for him or Natty Light or whatever he drank, and he would be sitting at the woodshed every night with the crew. I mean, and then he won this place like twice. He won Colonial. I know he's got at least one of those tartan jackets or whatever they are here, and then he won Hilton Head as well. But what an amazing guy that just he was just so thankful for the opportunity to be on tour. And you do see that with some of these other guys too. And now I'm unfortunately removed from the newer guys that are there. So I knew the guys that were 20 years ago that were out there, and that some of them are still out there, and just great people, great characters. Lucas Glover was another one that you could sit at the hotel bar and just hang out with, and just talk like a regular person. And then back in the day we did have some time where Tiger stayed at the same hotel as us, and you would get on the elevator and you'd be on with Tiger. Well, he was a character, and he was a character when you were out on the course too. He wasn't always business, and those guys, he would ask like our microphone guys to kind of get away because he didn't want them to hear kind of the conversations that he was having with other golfers, but he always portrayed that because that's what, I mean, it was all about winning. It was like, all this stuff with Rory and Bryson and the fact that Rory didn't talk to him. So what? Like, you got a job to do, like, but you were out at different times and meet different people, and some of those relationships you build while you're out walking the golf course are amazing. That I still text with Boo. Him and I still keep in touch because he's just such a great guy and such a great character.
That's so cool. That's a great story, man. I'm glad I asked that question then, brother. All right, let me ask you this question. You were just down in Quail Hollow for the PGA Championship. What are your thoughts of Scotty, man? What are your thoughts of this guy?
Well, it's crazy because he started off the year not so well, and everybody's like, "Oh man, what's wrong with Scotty? What's wrong
Yeah.
with Scotty?" And then he
Quick.
comes to Texas 3 weeks ago and
31 under.
crushes everyone. And I think that I know myself personally, and I'm sure you guys may have thought the same way, but I'm like, Rory owns Quail Hollow. Like, this is Rory's tournament to win. Like, he should go out there. He's going to win back to back majors. This is going to be really huge for Rory. And for whatever reason, Rory didn't play well. And I didn't even think Scotty played well for the first 2 days. I
I
just
would
kept
agree.
looking, going, I'm like, okay,
Just staying in it, keeping his
yeah,
head above water.
anybody can win it. And then it was funny. I had a buddy of mine reach out to me on Sunday when Rom tied him. It was nine. I think they were both 9 under. And my buddy reached out to me and he said, "Well, is Scotty gonna win this?" And I said, "Yes." And he said, "Well, do you know something we don't?" I said, "Yeah, I know Scotty Scheffler."
Right. It's just what he does. I saw a funny meme. It was do you guys remember the Undertaker when he was in the coffin
Yeah,
and
yeah.
whoever it was looking over him, and then he got up and grabbed
Grab it
the
up.
guy. You know what video? So Scotty was the Undertaker and Rom was the other guy, and it was like whatever the hole was when Scotty woke up. And he like strangled Rom and then like put Rom down, and Rom never looked, Scotty never looked back at that point, dude. He just put them away.
I think no matter what happens Sunday, I think after what he did in the last 5 holes on Saturday, I was like, this guy's gonna win. It doesn't even matter what happens on Sunday, he's gonna win. I
Yes,
mean, the way he closed that out, what do you go 5 under through
Yeah.
5? I mean, holy moly!
And then the other thing that to take into consideration was when Rom got to 14 and then he ended up making par at 14, and then it seemed like he didn't get that momentum, and then I think he took a few more chances that other golfers wouldn't have made, like a JT Poston or whatever, because Poston's out there to make money, where Rom's not there to make money. He's went there to win championships. I
Hmm.
mean, money is not, and I think that's the difference now when you look at someone like a Bryson or a Rom, where they're coming in from the other tour, where they are just out there to win tournaments. Do they care about coming in second and third? Maybe, but no,
Yeah,
I
no,
like it's win, or who cares if I
yeah,
shoot 5 over on the last few holes. And where it's another guy like JT Poston, he's trying to cement himself and get a second place check and those kind of things. So once things didn't go great for Rom, then I think that was where it was a point where it was just like, all right, we're good. He's
Yeah,
like, I'm not winning this. Scotty's got it now.
that's
Just
it.
might as well
Yep.
go for it. So
Game
yeah.
over. Game
And you're
over.
100% correct. You're 100% correct. What they gave Rom, what 600 million plus equity and percentage of this and that, and then Bryson, obviously, you know what he does with YouTube and all that. I mean, he's set for life. So I think you're right. They take insurmountable risks because they just want championships. I personally like it. I like them taking the risks, and even if they don't get it, I still love it.
yeah, I mean, you and I going out and playing, even in the local tour, if we're in that hunt, we're gonna play it as safe
Mhm.
as possible. We're gonna keep, okay, I'm hitting center greens, whatever I can, just trying to two putt, and figure it out, and hopefully I can sneak by and beat someone. But it's just a different mentality, when you don't, and maybe that's a good part. Maybe if we all went out and played that way and almost didn't care, maybe that frees us up to play better, and there's the difference. Instead of thinking, oh crap, here I am, I need to make 3 pars in a row, instead of going, no, I'm going to go out and birdie these 3 holes because I don't care.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, good thought, man. So listen, you had your hands on some pretty cool stuff over the years. And you sent me some pictures. We could go back and look at the still shots, but I made a little video for my listeners, the ones that watch on YouTube. So if you listen to this episode, make sure you go check out the YouTube version so you can see these cool pictures that Drew sent me. I'm going to run the video real quick, Drew.
Yeah.
Dude, the claret jug. You were first off, tell me about that claret jug. That thing is history.
So the coolest part was it was actually after Phil won the claret jug that Bones brought it into our television compound. So, and he was just like, okay, anybody want to take a picture of it? So I have a picture of Bones and I too, and then I have that. So it's just great every year because I pull that one out every year and say, all right, I've got it. Who wants it? Who's going to come get
it? That is so cool, man. That's awesome. I love it, bro. Who's your pick this year for the Open Championship? Let's talk about it for a minute.
I haven't even really started to look at towards that. I hate to say that, but like,
Scotty Scheffler.
Yeah, right. Well, my deal is I've done 9 golf tournaments in the last 6 weeks, and I'm here doing my 7th week and whatever 10 tournaments. So those are fun for me because the U.S. Open and the Open Championship, I don't work them, so I become actually a fan, which is pretty cool. I've only worked one U.S. Open. Just happened to be one where Jeff Ogilvy, I walked with him all day. He ended up winning the tournament because some left-hander behind him went into the grandstands and into garbage cans and all that stuff.
Take it easy on the lefty, Take it easy on the lefty, sir.
Well, I had to get a little dig in there,
Yeah, definitely.
All right, tell me about this photo here, brother. You wanted me to? Yep.
This was us hanging in Augusta, and our hotel had these little signs, having a terrific time, and that kind of stuff. So just a play on a very long week at Augusta, where things are very serious. So we
yeah.
So
and I'm sure CBS like takes good care of you on those weekends. House, puts you up, everything like that. I mean.
Yeah, I mean we're traveled and we're traveled and
of course
hotels and all that good stuff.
Sure, man. I'm sure you guys have some good times, man, with your traveling crew. Like you said, you go out to the bars at nighttime and you have some good memories. I'm sure you have it. Is it the same crew? I mean, that you've been with for years, for most of the time? Big turnaround.
Yeah, there's a few guys, like the one guy that was just in that picture, I've been with, we've worked together for 20 years now. And there's some guys that, you stay, that have been around. And then there's some new folks that come in and out. And, it's just like any other job that, you put your 20 years in and you see people come and go. So, but it's a great little crew, it's kind of a traveling circus. You've got, every week you're in a different town, you're, trying to stay out of trouble, but have fun.
Yeah, man. I hear you. So now you said you did some freelancing for ESPN and the Golf Channel. Why don't you tell me a little bit about that?
So some of the stuff that I'm doing now outside of CBS is college golf. If you watch any of the college golf that's on Golf Channel, a bunch of it runs in the fall and then some in the spring, and some other tournaments that LPGA, we do some live stream stuff. So that's when I go down to Tampa a bunch of times, that's where I'm there. We're in a studio that's in Tampa and some of it's on site. But yeah, it's given me an opportunity to do some different things. Actually, this year I produced the ACC Men's Championship, which was the first time I had actually produced a show, which was fabulous. I mean, after you put 20 years in, somebody to give you an opportunity to produce your own show, it's fabulous,
That's awesome. Were you nervous?
it was one of those, I don't even remember now how I got through it. It was just like, because you try to prepare yourself so much for like, okay, you watch people do it and you're like, okay, I'll take a little bit of what they're doing and then, turn it into your own. But at the first time that you sit there and you're like the one making all the decisions, then, you're like, oh, I better not screw this up.
Now, Drew, you said you were a Troy boy, and you
Yep.
raised. Is the family still upstate? That's where you're from.
Yeah. The whole family, for the most part, is all in the Troy kind of area.
Nice.
My grandparents grew up in the Heights, so that's kind of where I came from, was Grizzled Heights. It stayed all around Troy for many years, and then ended up on Hilton Head, and from
Yeah.
there. Yeah, from there, Hilton Head. Then I ended up, coming back, and now homes in Saratoga. So.
Oh, great, awesome, man. Saratoga is beautiful. So tell me, like, what it is like with the traveling, and then the home life with the family, and the obstacles in between.
Well, the traveling part, I want to say is not easy, and it hasn't been easy, for years now, where you're dealing with airports. Like, I got up this morning at 3 a.m. because the direct flight was at 5 a.m. that came here to Texas, so you're just, you're trying to find as many direct flights, because who knows how many hours, days, weeks, years, I've spent at the airport. I know I average is, I think it's about, 143 nights a year at a Marriott property. So,
Hmm.
those parts. So when you get a chance to get home, you're really trying to spend quality time at home, and like, of course you want to go see your friends, you want to go hang out and do that. But you're just like, man, it's just nice to be home. It's nice to see the family. It's fun to sit in your backyard, open a bottle of wine and just, hang out.
Yeah. Relax. Get off your feet.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So what's coming up for you? You said you're at the event right now for this weekend?
Yep. Arrived today, went out a little bit, walked the course. Most weeks everything's kind of stays the same. So, um, and then we'll get things going tomorrow. CBS Golf Channel. We have 3 hours, 4 hours the next few days, and then 6 hours on the weekend, and then off to Columbus, Ohio for Jack's tournament, which is amazing.
That's awesome. That is
Um,
amazing.
and then we finish up this stretch in Toronto, Canada, which will be, like I said, there'll be 9 straight weeks that I've, been somewhere covering golf, and then finally we get a week off before, picking back up for 3 more weeks, which is one of them's Hartford, which that's what I was going to say to you. I said, you might have to try to come over on a Thursday, Friday, and, and check out the trucks and actually, get a chance. Maybe I'll put you to work. I'll put you to work as a spotter. You can go out there and walk with one of those groups,
Listen, I'll put the day in right
If you're
now.
ever in Florida, I'll volunteer right
Yeah,
now too.
legit,
I'm in.
legit. So listen, it's funny you say the Connecticut tournament, because I own a business Monday through Friday. I'm a weekend warrior. It's really tough to get time off during the week, but my dad will still cover the store for me. So listen, man, I'm thinking about coming to that event. I already was thinking about it. Probably Friday. So listen, you tell me the time and place, and I'll
Yeah,
be there.
you get over there, and I'll give you a quick tour of the trucks, and then give you a radio and send you out on the course, and you can
Holy shit.
work as a spotter for the day. How about that?
Holy shit. And Florida
Dude,
Mike,
that'd
do
be
you hear this?
awesome. That would
Do
be
you hear this?
awesome.
Oh my God, it has to happen now. It's done. It's happening. Um,
Wow.
Amazing. That's so great. Wow. Like, I don't even know what to say, Drew. I'm lost for words, dude, because that's
I got
awesome.
a couple of questions
Yeah,
while
give it to me.
he's fumbling over there.
While I catch myself. Go ahead, Florida Mike.
What is up with them only allowing CBS to go on from like 2 o'clock until the end of the day? How come they won't let you take the entire round?
Well, I think now that you have, over the years, you now see it. It's amazing the amount of golf that, I mean, you can watch stuff on PGA Tour Live, you can watch stuff on ESPN Plus. You have all those other avenues, to watch golf pretty much from sun up to sundown, if that's what you want to do. I think that, the main broadcasts and stuff like that, that's just the window that we have, that you're going to show on a bigger platform than just on
Okay.
more of a stream. So, and then of course it, comes down to commercials and all that, that
Mhm.
side of the
Yeah.
business, which I thankfully don't have to be any part of.
That's a great
Yeah,
question, Mike.
absolutely.
'Cause I always
Yeah, 'cause I was
wondered
just
that.
wondering.
I'm always
Yeah.
waiting for broadcast to come on. I'm always either streaming on my phone or I'm watching wherever, and I'm like, waiting for that actual broadcast. And then they come in halfway through the event when, like, sometimes like somebody's shooting lights out, and they're like, "Oh, let's bring you right to such and such," or like where this guy is taking over the round. It's
And
awesome.
and can you guys show more bad shots?
So what my boss said to me, when I first started, he said, just think about what you would want to see on TV. That was kind of, I knew golf, like I said, I was a caddy, I did that kind of stuff. So I knew a lot about golf, but I didn't know about television. It just kind of all of a sudden you kind of thought to yourself, oh, because we'll have, 15 to 20 guys out there walking the course with different groups, and some of the guys will call in and you're just kind of like, it's never making air, like, thank you for calling in, but that's never making air. You got a guy that maybe has a 40-foot birdie putt, to go to +6. It was a fantastic shot, but
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
just, it's to get that into the broadcast,
Yeah.
you're like, okay, does this make any sense?
So Florida Mike, you know what you got to watch, and I watch a lot of I'll watch. You mentioned it with the college girls. I'll watch a lot of the college girls, and they're a lot like us,
Mhm.
Florida Mike. They miss. No, they do. They'll miss, like, they'll come up short on like the 4 or 5 footers, like, and then they'll like walk all mad to their ball. Like I feel relatable to college girl. Like, listen, they'll strike the ball down the middle. You caddied for a ladies event, right? Let's skip
I
over to
did.
that. Okay,
I
I want to talk. I want to talk about that. We're gonna totally change the subject.
So I caddied. I think was it the Symetra, something like that. Does that sound right?
Okay.
It's local. It's great. I mean, again, you're right there. You're watching, you know, uh, pros. I mean, they're pros. They're trying to become better
Yeah.
pros. But
Are
so
they college level though? Were they? Am I
they
right?
were
Were they college
they're
level?
kind of, you're out of college, I think, at that point, because then
Okay.
you can go to the LPGA. And
Yeah.
I just happened to go down there, and then I got a phone call. It was a girl that was looking for a caddy, and I said, yeah, I'd be happy to help. And I think she had to win in order to get her card for the LPGA. So we ended up coming in like third. We gave, hey, we had a great time. And she asked me through her manager or whatever, and if I was interested in going out to California to caddy for her. So I said, yeah, sure, I'd love to.
Awesome.
And so I got out there, and I didn't even know that we had to Monday qualify. So we went out, and she was playing very well and hit a bad shot at 18 and ended up making bogey. And I said to her, look, we're going to go to a playoff. Don't worry about it. It's going to be fine. And we got this. So, about an hour later, boom, we go to a playoff. First girl hits one way right. Second one, hits it in the front bunker. And there was a little water that was right in front of the green. And she was kind of in the fairway. And I just said, look, if you knock this on the green and two putt, we're in. And she did. She knocked it on the green. She two putt. And we did great. Thursday we were doing great. Friday we were 27 holes in. We were 6 strokes. We were going to make the cut. It was a piece of cake. I was like, this is going to be great. First time, all that 7 straight bogeys, missed the cut, and I ended up working for Golf Channel on one of the announcers on the Saturday and Sunday.
All right. So blessing in disguise. So do you have any tips for me? Because I am going to be caddying my first event for a good friend of mine who's the RPI head coach, but he has an event and he asked me to be his caddy. And all I know and what I told him was, listen, Matt, I could clean your clubs for you. I said,
Yep.
I'll clean the ball for you. I said, I'll be a good vibe, but you're a damn good golfer, and I'm not going to tell you any tips. So, like, just like basically, I'm going to stay out of your way. He just laughed. I think he just wants me there for the good vibe type deal. So I'm going to go out and play with him actually at his club over, God, what's the one out by the airport? I always forget. Albany Airport.
Oh no,
Lulu.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, of course,
Beautiful
I can't
course.
think of it now.
Yeah. But he's bringing me out there in a couple of weeks, his private club, and I think the reason why he wants to bring me out there is to show me kind of how he plays and how he likes to do his thing. So I'll just watch, take notes, type deal, and just follow his lead, right?
It's one of those where you just want to affirm, like, hey, oh, do you think this is 6 iron? Yeah, it's 6 iron. I mean, what do you know? Like, you're just telling him like what he's thinking in his brain. You
Yeah.
just want him to keep thinking positive in his brain as to
Right.
Help
what
eliminate doubt. Help
exactly.
eliminate doubt.
So
All
no,
right.
it's,
All right. So I'm a little nervous about it. I'm a little nervous about this caddying event, but I think I'm going to do great. I got to get in a little shape. I think I have to go to Freer Park, Florida, Mike, and walk a couple times over there and not
Yeah,
run
yeah.
hard.
You gotta get used to that
And
seven
get
and a
used
half
to that.
mile average, baby.
yeah.
Yes. No, I will for sure. I will for sure. So, Drew, I want you to tell me, you've been on so many amazing courses, like Augusta, but is Augusta the most beautiful course you've been on, or is there a favorite of yours besides Augusta?
Well, I mean, I think that you have to put Augusta separate from all the rest.
Okay.
I think you take that and you take that out of the mix, and then you talk about
Sure.
it. So it's like when you see the betting, and it's like we took Scotty out, so now here's it fair for all the rest of the golf courses or all the rest of the players.
There you
So
go.
definitely, Pebble Beach, the views, everything about Pebble Beach, amazing. And then Jack's course is, there you go, 18th hole, Pebble Beach. So
Man,
Amazing. Just amazing, man.
no,
Yeah. What's the tag on Pebble Beach? I know it's public. What is the tag now for us public
uh,
hackers?
I wish I
Probably.
could. I wish I could tell you.
Probably, I would say Florida Mike, my guess, without
850.
looking up. You think 850?
Oh yeah.
I think
Yeah.
part of that though is you have to stay at the club too. So you have to
I,
Okay.
get
I
you have
think
to
it's
get
included. A lot of places do that, where like
the
food's
lodge.
included, the lodging.
Yeah.
You
Mm-hmm.
know, like
One of
big
these
And,
places.
days, when I get rich on this podcast, I'll make my way over there for a round.
well, the one thing I can say, a couple quick Pebble Beach stories. One is I hit it to inside 6 feet like 3 years in a row at seven. And
Nice.
it wasn't until the third year that I actually made the putt. So I finally got that monkey off my back.
Yeah, that's
And,
awesome.
and then it took, how many times can you go back and think about your golfing career and all that? But I hit three of the best shots that I could ever hit at 14 and made the putt. So I have made birdie at the hardest par five on the PGA Tour.
That's
So,
that's
Nice.
so
awesome.
those are a couple fun Pebble Beach stories,
So cool. What is your handicap? I mean, you're a pretty good stick.
It's one of those where I'm probably sitting right in that BC flight. But unfortunately, haven't played a lot of golf because I've been so busy. I used to travel with the clubs, but now trying to travel with your clubs and dragging them around, I
Mm.
mean, just becomes, you're trying to catch flights, and if you have to check clubs and all that stuff. So I haven't played as much
Mhm.
as I would like. I'll get a chance a little bit when I'm home, in June. I'll get out with play with a bunch of musicians, because
Yeah,
what they play music at night and golf all day. So
that's
so
awesome.
those
And
are
You
great.
you're the producer, so you gotta get like a set of clubs in the trailer, and they stay there at all times. Like CBS, you get this man some clubs.
that's awesome. That's awesome. Well,
What is your favorite brand of clubs? What clubs do you like to use?
I've been Titleists, ever since my first set of clubs, which my buddy Danny D took me to Caldor. That was the first set of clubs, but after that, about 5 years or so in, I actually started working at Skylar Meadows Country Club, so I had to upgrade the clubs when I went there. So
Like,
no doubt, no doubt. You said you did. Now I wanted to touch on this. I know you said
yeah,
it could be a whole other podcast, but you said you did some work on some other sporting events. Why don't you tell me about some other events? Touch up on a couple.
all right. Well, I've done football, some baseball. um Marathons, some other crazy. Oh, U.S. Open tennis.
Okay,
So,
all
so
right,
like I said, we can have a fall podcast when it comes around to like U.S. Open tennis. We could talk tennis, then we could talk football.
let's
I've
do it.
worked I've worked one Super Bowl, and then I've worked I also worked the World Series at the new Yankee Stadium. So But like I
pretty
said,
cool, man.
we could probably talk another 40 minutes or so,
Yeah.
just about
I'm not gonna
those crazy stories. So
I'm not gonna take up all your time. I'm gonna actually run my pool guys ad, and I'm gonna be back, and I'm gonna just run my questions that I like to ask all of my guests, and then we're gonna wrap things up, brother.
all right, sounds good.
All right, man. We'll be right back after the short break. Is your swimming pool looking more like a pond these days? Don't sweat it. Swimming Pool Repair Experts has your back. Since 2000, Swimming Pool Repair Experts has been the trusted name for top-notch in-ground pool renovations across the greater capital region. From liner changes and pool bottom refinishing to plumbing repairs, opening, closings, and stunning upgrades like lighting, benches, stairs, and decks, Swimming Pool Repair Experts does it all. Their expert team is ready to bring your pool back to life so you can dive into some summer fun. Because what's better than taking a nice dip after a long round of golf? Get a hold of Jim over at Swimming Pool Repair Experts today at 518-858-2587. That's 518-858-2587. Or check his website out, swimmingpoolrepairexperts.com. And don't forget to tell Jim that you heard about him on the Upstate Golf Guys podcast for that extra discount.
All right, before you do it, I got to tell you this story because it's a good one.
Let's go.
So I I did a little show with a buddy of mine, Scott, where we filled in for Roger Weiland, and I ended up getting Vern Lundquist to come on. Okay.
Oh, shit. Okay.
So Vern comes on. So your ad made me think of it. So we have Vern waiting, and we ran an ad, and the ad was something to do with Happy Gilmore. So like Vern's sitting there, and now like we're laughing, and like so Vern comes on, and my buddy's like, "Hey, I got to ask you a question," and Vern's like, "Yeah, what do you got?" And he's like, "Well, watching Happy Gilmore, the dude that's sitting next to you never says a word." And if you go back and watch Happy Gilmore, because I didn't even really think of that or even know that, I was like, what is he talking about? But if you watch, the dude never says a word. And so Vern said the guy that sat next to him during the movie was a buddy of Sandler's, but he wasn't in the Actors Guild. So he wasn't allowed to say a word.
Wow.
Wow.
So I've seen
So now we'll go back and watch Happy Gilmore, and you'd be like, "Holy crap, this guy doesn't say a word."
I've seen that
Look
movie
at it.
probably 500 times, and it's something that I haven't noticed, but I will now that you brought it to my attention. That's
Yep.
pretty cool, man. And the stories that you hear when you're in that world. All right, so Drew, this is one of my favorite questions that I ask my guests, and you especially, since you have met so many PGA players from since you started. You said Boo Weekly. Who would be your dream foursome, dead or alive, that you could pick to play with? Could be anybody, man.
Wow. That's that's crazy to even think about, because you look at some of the greatest golfers, where a Ben Hogan, Bobby Jones. I think Bobby Jones for sure would have to be,
Mhm.
just to watch that swing all day. I don't even know if I could play golf. I'd just be watching. It just
Yeah.
looked so, it looked so effortless. And then you have the other side of some baseball players or hockey players that I when I did some caddying, the hockey players were amazing golfers. Yeah, I think it was that whole slap shot,
Uh-huh.
shot that they had. But I've always been a big Bruins fan, so Bobby Orr, somebody like that
Okay.
to go tee it up with.
I like it. I like it, man. I like it. Okay. So I know you said you haven't been able to play golf very much in your working days, but when you do get out there and play, what's your favorite stick you use?
Favorite stick I use?
Yeah, favorite club.
Ah, well, I think, in most days the driver and I get along really well, and so that's where, if I could put myself in position, I haven't been playing that great with the irons, and then the putter and chipping bail me out. So I need to go spend, hours on the range with the irons and work on our relationship and get that back in good graces. But
Yeah.
for now, I could, you could probably putt with the driver too. So I would take the driver.
There you go. Yeah, I always call it swinging the sticks, man. That's what I always
Yeah.
say. Swinging the sticks.
Like,
I always call
swinging
it
the sticks. All right. Yeah.
swinging the sticks. But
Yeah.
that's
I
my
got one.
saying. Go ahead, Florida Mike.
So you mentioned Hilton Head a couple times.
Yeah.
I personally love Hilton Head. I've been there the last 5 years in the fall. Anthony's been there.
Yep.
What is your favorite Hilton Head course to play?
Long Cove.
Okay, he said that quick. You see how fast he said that? Damn. Okay.
I didn't get out to that one. I've played 4 or 5 courses out there. Did not get out to that one. Have you ever played that one, Florida Mike?
I have not. Is that there's a couple like really nice ones that are like, is that the one where you got to take the boat out or the ferry out?
No, that's Hague Point. Hague Point is harder than Harbor Town if you can ever get over there. But yeah, Hague Point's gorgeous. But Long Cove is right near, kind of across the street from Shipyard.
Oh,
But,
okay. I know what you're talking about.
but
I haven't played that one yet.
yeah, just an amazing golf course. And when I was down there, I got a chance to play so many great golf courses. I caddied at Berkeley Hall. I also caddied at Chichessie Creek, which is going up towards, Buford. And then the other one, hands down, the best golf course all around that area is Secession. It's in
Okay.
Buford. It's in
Yeah.
Buford. It's all walking. If you play it high tide, low tide, it's probably a 10-shot difference.
Oh, okay.
Really?
Right on the ocean, huh?
Yeah, just crazy. Just crazy.
That's awesome.
I gotta look.
Yeah.
I gotta look some of these.
Yeah,
up
look it
for
up.
Mike. I mean, listen. How many golf courses are on the island itself? I mean, so many.
Probably 30 or 40, probably.
Yeah, it could be even more than that. And now there's all those courses in Bluffton as well. So
Yeah.
it's amazing how many golf courses are packed into just Hilton Head, and all of them tucked away. And I know a few of them they may have combined. Shipyard had 27 holes. Port Royal had 36, I think, they were all part of the same family.
Florida
Yeah.
Mike, I can't wait for that schedule to come out for us. See what courses
I know.
we'll be playing, bro.
I'm so excited. I can't wait.
When does that come out? When is it revealed?
September, I think, or August.
No, it's so sooner than September. I think it's August. I remember.
Yeah, it's gotta be
seeing it
August. So
early.
they give you some time to get your flight in order and everything, and they tell you so you can get all your stuff in.
So where have you guys played there?
I played quite a few. One of my favorites is the Robert Trent Jones Ocean Course.
Okay. Yep.
I like that course. I won a national championship on, what was it, Bear Creek? Is that what it was we played last year?
Okay.
And-
The Jack Nicholas or whatever.
Was it
Yeah.
Bear? No, not
What
Bear.
one was it?
What was it called? Oh God. No. Oyster Reef.
Oh,
Yeah,
Oyster
Oyster
Reef.
Reef.
Which
The
I
Million
think-
Pine Trees.
I think Oyster Reef was kind of a dump. Was the dumpiest course there that we played, to be honest with you. But
It wasn't as good a shape as it was the last couple times I played it for sure. But
Yeah,
I love the layout.
yeah, the layout was cool, especially for you, man, because you could go at him with those dog legs.
Oh yeah,
Really
that lefty thing.
I can't hit a draw.
Arthur Hills was really nice.
Yeah, Arthur Hills was nice. Hampton Hall was nice.
Okay.
Hampton Hall was really cool too. What's the other one there that oh my God, it's famous. It's not
Palmetto Hall?
Not Palmetto Hall.
Oh, Atlantic Dunes?
Atlantic Dunes. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Atlantic Dunes. That was a Davis Love course.
Yes.
Yeah.
I played that as just like BS round. I didn't have a tournament there, but one of the guys did. I think maybe Champ or A Flight was playing there, so I tagged along with them.
Yeah, I think Bobby Downs, I think, is the head pro there.
I think that was probably the nicest one that I played that week.
It's so nice. I mean, like the grass and the bunkers. Holy cow.
Yeah, so nice, man. All right, I have one last question, bro. One last question. Is it true? And like, I don't care. I'm just like a peon. But like, you have people like Danny Rapp. I see him at every like in the press. Is what I'm just saying. And he started as a podcast guy.
Okay.
So I'm just wondering if like you work your way up, if somehow like somebody like me that is a golf podcast guy, how you work your way up to be media credentials to like get in there. I mean, I heard like a million different scenarios. I don't know. I don't know what you have to do.
I assume, with Barstool and all that, that's how they got a little bit of juice, especially now.
Sure.
I think they even have like
Followers and
do
money.
they have their own gambling site now?
They
Like
do.
Barstool
They
has their
do.
own. Yeah, it's
They do.
crazy. It's
So
crazy
that's
how
how he gets in. That's how he really gets in. I mean, there's a million podcasters out there. I know.
Yeah, and like that's how Good gets in. That's how all those big
Sure.
influencers get in. Because they're obviously trying to intertwine it all together. But it's the followers and the money. Like Good's like 40-50 million dollar a year golf company now.
Oh
Yeah.
no, and I've actually done some stuff with Good, and I've
Oh,
done
did
some
you?
stuff. Oh yeah,
Nice.
yeah, and there's the par three lighted in
Yeah.
Phoenix that I've done too. That like
Oh, okay.
you
That
get you
Creator
do those,
Classic.
you do some of that stuff. So
That's really cool, man.
that's the realm of stuff that like on the side, people call and say, hey, are you free? And you're like, okay, I'll give it a
Listen,
whirl.
I Florida Mike will tell you, I'm all about YouTube golf. I love watching those guys. I think it's
Mhm.
so fun. What they created and growing the game of golf is awesome. I love it, man. Love everything about those YouTubers. But listen, man, I don't want to take too much more of your time. I really had a blast. This was really a cool episode. You told me it was going to be, man. You didn't disappoint. And I'm going to reach out to you
Yeah.
about that Friday out there in Connecticut, man. If you're listen, I'm taking up your word. I'm gonna hold you up for that. I'm gonna come. I'll be there.
I'm gonna put you to work. That's for
I
sure.
love it. Florida Mike.
We'll get
Am
you.
I have a question though. Am I allowed to like take some video for some content for the
No.
podcast, or do I have not allowed to do
You
it?
know.
We could probably do something behind it, in the trucks and all that stuff. But
Okay.
once
All
you
right.
go out there, you gotta put that phone away.
I will.
Yeah,
I
that's the
will.
best part. That's the
All
best
right.
part.
I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure. I got to know all the rules. Let me know
Well,
all the rules before.
what's crazy is when I first started, there wasn't cell phones, or maybe
Mhm.
there was, but like they weren't like it is now. So people
Yeah.
still went and watched golf instead of
Yeah.
watching it through the little screen in front of you. So, but
Yeah.
no, we'll get you. We'll get you out there.
Just get me
So
a pic. Just get me a picture in the truck, and that's it, man. And that for the podcast,
yeah,
that'd be great. With you, of course, with you,
yeah. We'll
and
get some.
we'll get that out there. That's great, man.
We'll get some great stuff there. But I got one last thing. I have to give one more shout out because I was supposed to be there tonight, but of course I'm here. But our good friend Annie is having a birthday, so they're hanging out eating free wings at one of those places that gives away
Gotcha.
free wings on your birthday. So
Yeah,
happy
yeah.
birthday! Sorry I'm not there.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
We'll see you. We'll see you for my birthday this year, and get some free wings. So, but y'all,
Awesome.
thank you so much for having me on. Like I said, we'll connect again, and I look forward to definitely playing some golf and getting out and would you say swinging the sticks? So,
Swinging.
Yeah, swinging the stick.
That's what I said, man. That's what I say, man. Hey, listen, Drew. Again, thank you so much, and really appreciate you for your time, and I look forward to having you back on the podcast, maybe in the fall.
sounds great.
Awesome.
Buddy. Awesome. Appreciate it. And thank you
Thank you, brother.
thank you all the listeners for tuning in to another episode of the Upstate Golf Guys podcast. We'll catch you all later.